Discussions popped up in the past, but it's official. Ninja Gaiden is officially back. Not only is Team Ninja working with Platinum Games on the next mainline title, Ninja Gaiden 4, but it also shadow dropped Ninja Gaiden 2 Black for current-gen platforms. This is more than just a re-release though. It's received an extensive visual revamp courtesy of Unreal Engine 5. So, is this the definitive version of Ninja Gaiden 2? Not quite. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black was meant to consolidate the original and the divisive Sigma 2 into a satisfactory result. There are a few places that embody the latter more than the former. Regardless of whether you're fine with this or not, it can feel a bit off. PC players should also note that despite the extensive graphical options, 4K support, and higher frame rates, it needs more fine-tuning. With all that in mind, is it fun? Absolutely. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is a fast-paced, challenging, and addictive experience, a gory spectacle with a deep combat system and significant skill expression backed by strong pacing, level design, and bosses. Though I'm not much for the series story, let alone the plot in this title, it does kick off with a bang. After CIA agent Sonya is kidnapped in Tokyo by the Black Spider Ninja Clan, Ryu Hayabusa rampages through the city and several unfortunate enemies to save her. He eventually encounters Elizabeth and learns of the 4 greater fiends, embarking on a journey to retrieve a precious artifact stolen from Hayabusa Village. The remastered cinematics are a treat, whether it's descending from the spire of a skyscraper to soar through a window into the next, or Joe Hayabusa squaring up against Genshin, the Black Spider Ninja Clan's leader. Even if it's not a full-blown remake, the visual fidelity is more than up to standard. Then, textures, foliage, environments, lighting, shadows, and even more have been overhauled and look exceedingly stunning. Even the character models look incredible with much more detail, though the animations remain the same. Of course, the main appeal is the combat, and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black offers some of the best yet. Each weapon, from the Dragon Sword and Lunar Staff to the Falcon's Talons and Vigoroon Flails, is a joy to use. Each caters to a different playstyle, like smacking and sweeping multiple foes with the staff to furiously satisfying stabs of the claws. Other techniques include leaping onto enemies and throwing them overhead, or straight into a wall. You can unleash Flying Swallow, slicing through multiple enemies and maybe decapitating a few. Launching an enemy and executing an Izuna drop, smashing their head into the ground, is satisfying. Wall running is also encouraged in fights since you can transition into different attacks. It's enough to make you assess the surrounding environment and how to best leverage it. Ranged weapons like the Fiend's Bane Bow and Ninpo further mix things up, especially the latter since some spells like Art of the Windblades can slice through multiple enemies and potentially dismember them. This opens them up to obliteration, where Ryu decimates a limbless enemy in an impressively excessive execution. The gore that defined the original game is here in full force, and it's awesome to witness. Unleashing an ultimate and watching Ryu quickly dice up or batter an opponent with streaks of blood flying everywhere is incredibly satisfying. The same goes for beheading a fiend and continuing to assail its twitching body before finally obliterating it. As for the enemies, they'll interrupt your attacks, sometimes attacking relentlessly to break your guard and even grapple you. Fail to obliterate a limbless foe, and they'll latch on before detonating an explosive kunai, taking a chunk of your health. Though completing encounters will refill your health, a section of your health bar can become unrecoverable if you take enough damage, which save points and certain items can help repair. Regarding your opponents, blocking, dodging, and counterattacking while staying on the move, sometimes even tossing shurikens to slightly stagger threats, is key. However, there are places where the Sigma 2 influence can be felt. The number of enemies is slightly higher in Black, but not as much as the original. You may think this doesn't matter if this is your first time with Ninja Gaiden 2, and some fights with the enemy ninjas, hostile dogs, and magic wielders can definitely feel challenging. Then there are places where you've cleared a room and additional enemies enter one at a time. Combined with some weird spawning, including threats appearing out of thin air, it can feel jarring. The increased enemy health is also still a thing, and while I didn't always feel it at times, there were occasions where battering an enemy with extensive combos and watching it struggle to its feet prompted a "how are you alive?" on at least one occasion. It messed with my intent to obliterate a limbless fiend, leading to death. Your mileage may vary on all of this, of course, but even in terms of features, there is quite a bit missing from the original Ninja Gaiden. There are no online features like co-op, while Ninja Race, Test of Valor, and Ninja Cinema are missing. At least Tag Mission is still available, though you'll play alongside an NPC. Improvements like spending essence on weapon upgrades are welcome, but difficulty-wise, it did sometimes feel like there was a tad too many healing items and even checkpoints. The latter does get better in further stages, and the bosses can still be unforgiving as ever. But even on Path of the Warrior, the equivalent of hard difficulty, I felt there was room for significantly more challenge, which Path of the Mentor and others still offer, so perhaps this is a bit moot. For the PC requirements, an 8th Gen Core i7 16GB RAM and a GTX 1080 are recommended for running the game at 1080p 60fps with TSR and standard quality. On an 11th Gen Core i5 32GB of RAM and an RTX 4060, I saw relatively solid 60fps performance in 1080p and 1440p, the former running at best quality while the latter stuck to high quality. A few dips were occasionally spotted, especially in some of the larger scale environments with multiple enemies and effects going off at 1440p. Otherwise, the PC version maintained a steady frame rate throughout most battles. The upscaling solutions are somewhat of a mixed bag. I didn't try out AMD FSR 3 after hearing less than spectacular things about it. NVIDIA DLSS on quality mode ran well in both resolutions, but looked utterly terrible in Hayabusa Village with the extensive forestry. Dialing down the sharpness to 0 thankfully eliminated the issue. TSR also ran well enough, though going too far behind the default 60 rendering resolution proved dicey. There also seems to be a bug where TSR won't save as an option, which is weird. The shader compilation is also relatively quick after your first time booting. As stated before, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black isn't the definitive way to play the classic. What with the missing content, Sigma 2 changes, and whatnot. And that matters because its $50 price tag is still significant. However, this is the best way to experience Team Ninja's classic on modern platforms. Its gorgeous fidelity is matched by some of the best hack-and-slash combat ever, even after all these years, and it'll keep you coming back, eager to master its depths. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.